as I narrate from in the midst of a puddle. We're in the Berkshires here in Massachusetts. My name's Derek Diedrichson from Tiny Yellow House TV. I run RelaxShacks.com, author of Humble Homes, Simple Shacks, a tiny housing and tree housing book. I'm on the way back from the Catskills where I was building a pretty elaborate tree house for a client. You'll see a video on that later down the road, or maybe it's been out for a long time. But we're in the Berkshire Botanical Gardens right now. And I'm going to give you a quick tour of some of the tree houses from different architects that they have an exhibit right now. I believe it's 6 of them. We'll give you a tour of that before the place closes, which is like in 25 minutes or so let's get going. Alright, this place is just absolutely gorgeous. The landscaping, as an arboretum, botanical garden should be false advertising if not. Unfortunately, the weather is not. Here's a display. I don't know if it's part of the treehouse setup, which it's kind of made out of trees, and again, just about every house is, unless stone. But it's really not a treehouse. It's made out of some slabs. A lot of times at mills, you can get these things for free. They just give them away. So if you're building that backwoods cabin, look into it. Budget friendly, and some woven sticks, almost wattle and daub style, without the mud. Some weird hanging Shaka Zulu deer antlers. This is almost kind of like a bird blind, I guess you could call it. As I walk backwards, not sure where I'm going, and trip over some rare heirloom tomatoes and get fined or sued heavily. Cool little structure though. Built probably primarily for nothing. Little plywood subfloor with looks like recycled forklift pallet planks on top of it. Might be a bit drafty. Now, Hurricane Irene, here's another treehouse, was just last weekend, so I'm wondering if they anchored these things to bolts in rock so this whole exhibit wouldn't blow away, because it's pretty much made of stacked, almost upside down reverse Hogan style hollow bamboo rods, so probably doesn't weigh much. Not really so much a tree house, but it's a pole structure, a pole fort. There's always a lot of confusion between tree houses, pole houses. I personally consider a tree house something that's built solely up in trees without any poles or supports. Unfortunately, when building the tree house I was working on over in the Catskills the last few days, it initially was going to be suspended all by cables, but that proved impossible. In the end run, we had to put some posts in there. So, kind of broke my own heart. But hey, you do what you got to do. So the thing's pretty cool. It's actually, if you ever done any lashings, got your pioneering merit badge with the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scout equivalent. This is pretty much what we're dealing with. Little ladder going up. Let's ascend the stairs, shall we? This I like. Almost like mountain climbing rope. In a wooden bamboo frame structure. The rope is just strung back and forth, creating these multicolored seats. Me like. If you completed the dome overhead, it's like this half teacup right now, you would have a pretty cool structure that you could put some kind of skin or canvas on. Here's another pole fort or tree house they're calling it in the distance. Let's check that one out, shall we? Alright, so far not hugely impressed with the tree houses, quote unquote. As for the gardens themselves, I am very impressed. If it were a beautiful day here, or if I had more time to poke around, I would certainly will come back at some point in time, and it's worth the admission fee. But the grounds are pretty extensive here, so I do recommend the place, right in Stockbridge, Mass. Once again, BerkshireBotanicals.com, I think, is the website. But here's the other tree house, with kids in it going crazy. This one here is built by Joseph Cho and Stephanie Liu, and I take it back. This tree house or pole house is actually pretty unique and cool. A lot of it appears is built, the skin of it, out of plywood, but cut so as to give the illusion of different branches being intertwined. It's bigger than you think, as I'll show you in a second. It's pretty cool.
complete with fancy tongue and groove flooring and a hatch.
Here, I'll show you a close-up of it. In the peace and tranquility of the Berkshires as cars tear on by. There's some numbskull in an H3. Love the facade. That must be cool as a Japanese-style tea house if you had some kind of, you know, paper walls or something more durable on the inside. This ladder here appears to be made out of just thin steel rods. I weigh $2 and change. It held me, so these people are doing something right. Here's the hatch, and inside here I would guess it's probably exactly 8 by 8 feet. Would be a pretty cool little vacation cabin in the woods. This one so far gets my vote as the best of the ones I've seen.
Let's see what else this place has to offer.
Well, yeah, I suppose I'll need my camera too. You know, strangely, as it starts raining again, probably getting water in the lens. I was looking online for these exhibits. They've been running for a while. They run to October 15th. Not many pictures or none at all of the tree houses. Luckily, the woman at the front gate said, you know, by all means, take some video, shoot some pictures. So I'll be sure to put these up on my blog as well, relaxshacks.com, where again, you can pick up my book on Amazon.com now as well. Humble Home, Simple Shacks, plug, plug, plug. I'm excited about it though. It's got a new cover, some new stuff. Maybe some of these photos. Actually, it's too late for that, so Control-Alt-Delete, everything I just said. Now here's some general freakiness courtesy of Ann G. Fredericks. I guess these are tree houses as well. Although I wouldn't consider them as such, they're kind of micro-scale prototypes of what could be some pretty awesome tree houses. They look more like kind of bird platforms right now, with an array of recycled strings, yarn, straw. I'm doing this whole thing right now from beneath an umbrella that I had to buy last minute at an exorbitant price at a local general store. Pretty cool though, but not a treehouse. Like I said though, this park, just for the gardens, if it were a nice day, is worth it. And way over here in the distance, I think I see the one I've seen pictures of actually online. It's like this giant white tower-like structure. Let's check that out. It's a cool apple tree here. And I lied. We'll go with the white structure in a second. But here is, as a mosquito is draining me of blood in the back of my neck. But my hands are full, I can't swat at it. West Nile, here I come. Here's some interesting little orb-like birdhouse structures. Another one in the distance. All set in some kind of, I don't know, I guess a crabapple tree. A display called Food from Naomi Blumenthal. By the way, we've been enjoying the Catskills and staying in the Berkshires as well at a pretty funky cabin that I got hooked up with through Airbnb.com. It's Airbnb.com. If you're really into tree houses, that kind of stuff, and want to stay in tree houses, former, you know, military escape pods, or for spaceships and funky houseboats, that kind of stuff, Airbnb.com. Thank you guys so much. And that said, onward as promised to the White Tower. Now a lot of times, because I build a lot of recycled material shacks, shelters, cabins, shanties and so on, I'm always on the lookout for just locales in which I'd like to build little structures. And this little cove under this pine tree perhaps would be such a cool place. Next to it though, a funky pagoda-like structure. Now if I built something like this, I would take the upper half of it, enclose it, add some windows, put on maybe a low sloping gable roof, go it a little bit taller, and leave the bottom as is with the table. See, you can get ideas from just about anything. This way you kind of have a little patio or porch beneath. You ascend the ladder into the upper regions, into a little sleep chamber. I can see my lens is getting wet. So thus concludes my idea. On to the next one now. I keep pimping and plugging that white tower in the distance. Let's finally go there. Very lighthouse-esque. This one's titled The Keep. Gray Davis and Will Meyer of Meyer Davis Studios are responsible for this obelisk-like structure. Again, I wouldn't call it a tree house. I'm not dissing the exhibit. These are actually really cool, but they were built kind of as a tree house Exhibit. Some really substantial posts here. They're like 8 by 8 posts. And I don't know if I can do this without getting soaked. I'm holding an umbrella and the camera at the same time while narrating. There's a top floor area. It's kind of like a giant lifeguard stand almost. Put some sheathing on the outside, make it a little bigger. Could be a cool cabin with a view. It's so much fun being in the rain. One thing I have to say, it's pretty cool. It's a very interactive exhibit. You're allowed to climb all these things. Granted, right now most of them are really slick from the rain. But if you have kids, let's say, you can come out here and let them climb all over the things, get nice and tired, and they'll take early naps later on. It's a win-win situation. Alright, I think we got a couple more, maybe 2 more, that I'll show you real quick before I'm washed away. Now here's another ground structure, but a unique twist on framing, where all the sheathing's on the inside and the framing structure itself is left exposed skeletally on the outside. Some ne'er-do-wells in there having some fun, I see. Now here's the interior. Kind of a low door here, but this I really like. The trees actually rise from the interior. Let's see if I can make it through here with my umbrella. Otherwise you can look at water droplets all over the structure. There's no roof on this, but these, some kind of birch here, rise up through the open air roof here. Would make a cool little patio for barbecues, or a little just private hangout hot tub area in someone's backyard, if you had the money, the time, and the means to build one. I just gobbled down a handful of these babies. That'll make the rest of the tour much more interesting. These are safe to eat, right? No, stay away from these things. Gorgeous though. Now here's the last one in the exhibit by Michael Trapp. Just a ground structure here. I have been misled in so many ways. But a very cool, almost, I won't say Asian inspired, but just kind of an old-fashioned garden shed that would make for a great vacation camp or cabin. Not so private, just put some curtains in there, slap in a bed, some oil lamps or lanterns. And with all the windows you have an amazing view if you position this, say, near a lake or a creek. I like the design. And on the end, huge seasonal screen windows. This one and probably the I don't know what to call it, the box up in the air with the cut-in branches. Probably my 2 favorites so far. Or I guess we're done, so my 2 favorites, period. And that concludes our video as I'm running out of batteries and dry clothes. My name's Derek Diedrichson again for Tiny Yellow House TV and RelaxShacks.com. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next time, perhaps in drier, I hope, circumstances. See ya.